Can Thada Adel hold up at CEDH tables? We'll find out in today's episode. Playing with Power MTG. Powerful cards, powerful formats. Before we get into today's video, I wanted to tell you about our sponsor, Factor. Factor is a meal service that takes the hassle out of meal prep and planning. Unlike other meal services, Factor cooks your meals ahead of time so it arrives ready to heat and eat within minutes. But this isn't just some fast food or TV dinner style service. These meals offer fresh, never frozen ingredients across a variety of preferences. There are over 27 meal options each week, so you'll never get tired of the meals delivered to your door. I love variety, and this is my favorite part of Factor. The holidays are upon us, and Factor can help with those too. Factor makes sure you always have something nutritious on hand while running around shopping and preparing for the special day. Grab a prepared smoothie or keto shake for a quick snack, or heat and eat a chef-quality meal in just 2 minutes with no prep or cleanup necessary. And when the holidays are over, be sure to start on your fitness goals. Fitness starts with food, and Factor makes it possible for you to achieve your daily goals through nutritious, purposeful eating. So give Factor a try today. Use my link or go to go.factor75.com and use code POGPOWERDEC50 for 50% off of your first box. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code with your phone. A big thanks to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's start out by showcasing our fighters this evening. First, we have Ryan, piloting Godo, Bandit Warlord. This deck seeks to cast its commander, fetch up Helm of the Host, and win with infinite combats. Ryan's opening hand contains a Mana Vault, Metalworker, Basalt Monolith, Magnetic Theft, Snow-Covered Mountain, Mox Diamond, and a Thran Dynamo. Next we have Alana, piloting Thada Adel, Acquisitor. This deck seeks to steal pivotal artifacts from opponents' decks and win with an Iso-Rev combo. Alana's opening hand contains a Mox Amber, Cephalid Colosseum, Mana Confluence, Jeweled Lotus, Gemstone Caverns, Pongify, and an Island. After that we have our Mox Pearl patron Peter from Wizards of the Coast, piloting Kenrith, the Return King. This is a mid-range list that seeks to win via Thassa's Oracle, Underworld Breach, or combos using its commander. Peter's opening hand contains a Talisman of Dominance, Neoform, Tarnished Citadel, Volcanic Island, Fierce Guardianship, Eladamri's Call, and his London Mulligan is a Finale of Devastation. Finally, we have our Mox Pearl patron John, piloting Samwise the Stouthearted. This is a stacks deck that seeks to slow down the board, grind the game, and eventually win with a Walking Ballista combo. John's opening hand contains a Solitude, Cathar Commando, Boromir, Warden of the Tower, Ashnod's Altar, Soul Ring, Chrome Mox, and a Plains. Without further ado, let's kick off this dry, dusty, dirty debauchery. Ryan won the Blackout Challenge and gets to start us off. But Alana has a pre-game action, putting Gemstone Caverns onto the battlefield, exiling an island. Ryan draws a card for turn and plays a Snow-Covered Mountain. He casts a Mana Vault. He casts a Metalworker. He passes. At the end of Ryan's turn, Alana casts Pongify, targeting Metalworker. Ryan declares his lifelong grudge against Alana as it resolves. Metalworker is destroyed, and Ryan creates a 3/3 ape. The turn moves to Alana. Alana draws and plays a Cephalid Colosseum. She casts a Jeweled Lotus. She cracks it to cast her commander, Thada Adel, Acquisitor. She casts a Mox Amber. She passes. Peter draws and plays a Tarnished Citadel. Peter ends his turn. John draws and plays a Plains. He casts a Chrome Mox, imprinting Felidar Guardian. He casts a Soul Ring. He casts Boromir, Warden of the Tower. John ships the turn. During his draw step, Ryan takes the damage from his Mana Vault. He takes no actions and passes the turn. Alana draws and moves to combat. She attacks Peter with Thada. Peter takes it, Thada triggers, and Alana fetches up the One Ring from Peter's library into exile. In her second main phase, she plays an Ancient Tomb. She taps it to help cast the One Ring from exile. It enters, and Alana gains protection from everything. She activates the One Ring, adding a burden counter and drawing a card. Finished up, Alana passes the turn. Peter draws and plays a Volcanic Island. He passes. John draws and casts Serra Ascendant. He moves to combat and attacks Peter with Boromir. Peter takes it, and John ends his turn. During his draw step, Ryan takes the damage from his Mana Vault. He takes no actions and passes the turn. During her upkeep, Alana loses a life to the One Ring. She draws and activates the One Ring. In response, Peter taps Tarnished Citadel to help flash in an Orcish Bowmasters. In response, Alana taps Ancient Tomb and Cephalid Colosseum to help hard cast Force of Will. In response, Ryan casts Red Elemental Blast, targeting Force of Will. Force is countered and Bowmasters resolves. Bowmasters enters, pings Thada, and Peter amasses Orcs 1. Then Alana adds a counter to the One Ring and draws 2. Bowmasters triggers twice, pings Thada twice, killing it, and Peter amasses 2. Alana plays a Mana Confluence and passes to Peter. Peter draws and plays a Marsh Flats. He passes. At the end of Peter's turn, John flashes in a Cathar Commando. John draws and moves to combat. He attacks Peter with Serra Ascendant and Alana with Boromir. They both take it, and John gains 6 life. In his second main phase, John casts Ranger Captain of Eos. It enters, and John fetches up an Esper Sentinel into his hand. John ships the turn to Ryan. During his draw step, Ryan takes the damage from his Mana Vault. He draws, casts a Manifold Key, and ends his turn. During her upkeep, Alana loses 2 life to the One Ring. She draws and activates the One Ring, adding a counter and drawing 3 cards. Bowmasters triggers 3 times, and Peter targets Ranger Captain with all 3. In response, John sacrifices Ranger Captain, locking out opponents from non-creature spells this turn. Then the Bowmaster's trigger fizzles and Alanna plays an island. She taps Ancient Tomb and Mana Confluence to help recast her commander, Thada Adel. Alanna passes. At the end of Alanna's turn, Peter cracks his Marsh Flats, pays a life, and fetches up a hollowed fountain onto the battlefield tapped. Peter draws and plays a Mana Confluence. He taps it to help cast Eladamri's Call. Alanna can interact, but cannot do so with Boromir on the battlefield, so the table agrees to band together. In response, Jon sacrifices Boromir, giving his creatures indestructible until the end of turn. The ring tempts him, and Jon makes Serra Ascendant his ring bearer. Still in response, Alanna casts Force of Negation, exiling a blue card. Then Eladamri's Call is countered and exiled. Next, Peter casts Talisman of Dominance and passes to Jon. Jon draws and casts Esper Sentinel. He moves to combat and attacks Alanna with Cathar Commando and Peter with Serra Ascendant. They both take it, and Jon gains 6 life. Jon passes. During his upkeep, Ryan activates Manifold Key, untapping his Mana Vault. He draws and plays a Snow-Covered Mountain. He casts Thran Dynamo. Esper triggers, and Jon draws. Bowmaster's triggers, kills Esper Sentinel, and Peter amasses 1. Then Thran Dynamo resolves. Ryan casts Basalt Monolith and passes the turn. At the end of Ryan's turn, Jon flashes in a Samwise the Stout-Hearted. It enters, Jon returns Esper Sentinel from his graveyard to his hand, and the ring tempts him. The turn moves to Alanna. During her upkeep, Alanna loses 3 life to the One Ring. She draws and plays an island. She moves to combat and attacks Thada at Peter. Since Thada has Island Walk, Peter cannot block. Peter takes it, Thada triggers, and Alanna fetches up a Wishclaw Talisman into exile. In her second main phase, Alanna activates the One Ring. She adds a counter and draws 4 cards. Bowmaster triggers 4 times, targeting Samwise, Cathar Commando, and Thada Adel. Alanna floats a blue with Mox Amber, then all creatures die. Then Peter amasses 4. Next, Alanna taps Ancient Tomb and Cephalid Coliseum to help cast a Hullbreaker Horror. She casts Mox Diamond. Hullbreaker Horror triggers, bouncing Bowmasters back to Peter's hand. Then Diamond resolves, and Alanna discards Manama, School at Water's Edge. Alanna casts Soul Ring. Horror triggers, targeting Mox Diamond. In response, Jon evokes a Solitude, exiling a white card. In response, Alanna taps Mana Confluence to cast Chain of Vapor, targeting the Orc army. Hullbreaker Horror triggers, bouncing Solitude back to Jon's hand. With Chain still in the stack, Jon evokes Solitude again, exiling a white card. Solitude enters, exiling Hullbreaker Horror. Alanna gains 7 life, and Solitude is sacrificed. Then Chain resolves, the Orc army is bounced, and Peter sacrifices a land, continuing the chain, targeting the One Ring. The One Ring bounces back to Peter's hand, and then Alanna stops the chain. Then Hullbreaker Horror's trigger resolves, Alanna bounces Mox Diamond back to her hand, then Soul Ring resolves. She casts an Arcane Signet. She casts a Mox Diamond, discarding Otawara, Soaring City. She casts a Wishclaw Talisman from exile. With nothing else, Alanna ships the turn to Peter. Peter draws and taps Mana Confluence to help cast the One Ring. It enters, and Peter gains protection from everything. He activates the One Ring, adding a counter and drawing a card. Peter ends his turn. Jon draws and moves to combat. He attacks Ryan with Serra Ascendant. Ringbearer triggers, and Jon draws and discards. Then Ryan takes it, and Jon gains 6 life. In his second main phase, Jon casts Rule of Law. Jon passes. During his draw step, Ryan takes a damage from his Mana Vault. In his main phase, Ryan casts Chaos Warp, targeting Rule of Law. It resolves, Jon shuffles it into his library, then reveals a Plains, putting it onto the battlefield. Next, Ryan activates Manifold Key, untapping Mana Vault. He casts Dockside Extortionist. It enters, and Ryan creates 9 treasures. He casts Godo, Bandit Warlord. It enters, and Ryan fetches up a Helm of the Host onto the battlefield. Ryan activates Helm of the Host, equipping it to Godo. Ryan moves to combat, creating a copy of Godo Bandit Warlord. It enters, and Ryan fetches up a Hammer of Nazan onto the battlefield. Hammer triggers and equips to his original Godo. Ryan attacks Jon with his Godo copy. Godo triggers and untaps. Jon takes it, and in his second combat, Ryan creates another copy of Godo. It enters, and Ryan fetches up a Conqueror's Flail onto the battlefield. It enters, Hammer triggers, and equips to the original Godo. Then Ryan attacks Jon again. Godo triggers and untaps again. Then Jon takes it, and in his next combat, Ryan creates another Godo. It enters, and Ryan fetches up an Argentum Armor onto the battlefield. Hammer triggers, and Ryan attaches it to his newly created copy of Godo. Ryan attacks Jon with Godo. Godo and Argentum Armor trigger, Ryan destroys Peter's Mana Confluence, then Godo untaps, and Jon takes the hit. Ryan moves to combat, creates another copy of Godo, and attacks Jon with both Godos this time. Argentum Armor triggers again and destroys Peter's Tarnished Citadel. Ryan presents a loop of attacking Jon and Alanna until they are dead. He continues the loop, attacking Peter until he has about 100,000 untapped Godos. Since Peter has protection from everything, he doesn't take any damage. Ryan passes the turn to Peter. During his upkeep, Peter loses a life to the One Ring. He draws and then goes into the tank, trying to decide what to do. He activates the One Ring, adding a counter and drawing 2 cards. He realizes that there is nothing he can do to stop the onslaught, concedes, and Ryan wins the game. Ladies and gentlemen, what a match. Congrats to Ryan on his win. His early ramp was completely destroyed by Alanna's Pongify. He was then further nerfed by the turn 1 Boromir from Jon. After the table fought through Alana's Hullbreaker Horror, it left Ryan with a window to try and attempt his win. The most valuable card in tonight's game, sponsored by Luxury Playstyle, goes to the One Ring. The entire game was warped around this card. Alana fetched it up with Thada Adel and drew tons of cards. Peter bounced it and gained protection from everything on his turn. This put Ryan in a very precarious spot to be able to win. Ryan had to demonstrate a very intricate line just to destroy 2 of Peter's lands. Even then, Peter could have easily untapped and won. This card is absolutely busted and deserves the top spot tonight. Well, that about wraps it up for this episode. Tune in next time when we duke it out to see who will be king of the competitive EDH table. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.